Please welcome Mr. Stan Wood.
I make music with a rubber band, and when I play, it sounds like a trumpet or a saxophone.
Going to the art school, and I discovered that from a blade of grass you could
make that
create
sound.
make a similar sound, and it just went from there, from a rubber band to Daniel Dan.
A soprano saxophone coming off a rubber band. Do you have any rubber bands with you? You brought your instruments? You brought your axe?
I do have one.
Do you need a moment to tune up?
Perhaps, you know.
All right. All right, thank you, Stan. Move over, Miles Davis.
So one day I was playing my guitar. I only knew the blues box, the minor blues box. I was just wailing away in my apartment up there. And Stan knocked on my door. And I thought it was an angry neighbor at first. Angry about the angry about the noise. But Stan says, "Hey man, you got a pretty cool tremolo going on there, yeah?" And then I said, "Wow, thanks. And aren't you that cornet player or that trumpet player upstairs?" He goes, "Oh, no, man, I don't play a trumpet." And I said, "Well, what do you play?" And he reached into his pocket. He had a little cigarette case, and he had one of these, a little Vibraband. And so we started playing together, oddly. The one other thing I could do was to make odd, weird sounds with my guitar. I called them whale sounds. And Stan loved this. And in fact, Stan just loved, I think, sound as music. He was into John Cage, and he loved just breaking down music. Just forget about the notes, forget about theory, and think about sounds. And sometimes we would draw a picture of what we were going to play. And Stan might say, "Hey, look at this painting. What kind of sounds would this painting make?" And that's the kind of improvisation that we did. And I listened to those tapes back then when I could barely play guitar, but I could make these weird sounds. And I just go, wow.
She is if she's in my lap, she's the happiest animal on the planet. I may die here now. The whole Vibraband thing was just, I mean, I got the whole explanation of surgical rubber and just how it works. And then he started playing it, and I was just like, I was shocked. I was shocked. There are no stops or mechanisms, mechanical reproduction, to precisely reproduce notes reliably every time kind of thing. And then he started playing the thing by stretching it and fingering it, and it sounded like Miles Davis with a quarter tone trumpet. It blew me away. And then we didn't play tunes. We didn't play songs. We played stories. You're flying over the French countryside kind of thing. It was that sort of thing. The whole thing. We all participated in the story. And you get shot down, and you crash in a field, and you're running through the town, and there's just the people in the marketplace, and there's stuff like and it's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's play that, and then we played it, and it made sense.
You got space?
This was the most, the stuff with Vibraband and with you and Stan was probably the most open-ended thing I've ever done. But it also seemed like one of the more cohesive things I've ever done. That was kind of the beginning of my career. I had played before that, but that was kind of like the start of my being a professional musician in Portland. And so I think it was a momentous occasion in my career that I didn't realize until it kind of like worked itself into things, and I was able to articulate it later. And it's funny because having this conversation with you now, I think that is where that started for me. Yeah.
Tambours take it one step further than all the other instruments because we use this thread. And so here's the sound of the instrument without the thread. And here's the instrument with the thread. So think of the word, what word did I use to describe it? It's a kind of a blossoming or breathing life into the string. Mm-hmm. Stan would often talk to me about his love for abstract expressionist painting. And he was also very moved by the painters of the Pacific Northwest. In the world of jazz, he was very moved by Jim Pepper, the great Native American saxophonist that lived in Portland, Oregon, was very well known by many people, and was a great genius. And I think part of that attraction had to do with Jim's Native American heritage, tribal heritage. And that tied in really beautifully with the Seattle painters, Mark Tobey, Morris Graves. The little crosshatches that are repetitive, the motion that's repetitive, that goes all over the sheet of paper. Inspiring his paintings would be like if he was in Seattle. You know, Seattle oftentimes can be a rainy town, and so he'd be walking maybe from the club to the car, or if they were staying at someone's house, they'd leave the nightclub and go back to wherever they were staying. And if it was raining, you know, in general, in the rain, you know, people have their heads down to watch where they're going. And Stan would say that those patterns and colors meant something to him, because that was the warp and the weave of where we live, you know. Mm-hmm. And I loved that. I thought, you are so great because you've got sound and you've got visual art all together, you know, in your mind. Some of his paintings had he used a Vibraband shape. You know, he didn't tell you that right at first, but if you knew, then you knew. This is a Vibraband painting. There's all these wiggles going on. So when he played music, in his mind was bebop, because he loved bebop music. He loved post-bebop music too. The later period Miles stuff, I know that he really admired that. And Don Cherry, you know, that. So a really cool jazz influence, beatnik, beat jazz influence. And that aesthetic combined with his love of abstract expressionism and love for the Seattle style of the Seattle school of painters. When he'd play, I would think he is of this place right now. When he was improvising, I think you are absolutely putting spirit into the ground, because of all the cool influences that you bring to this moment and that are here in this place that surround you. He had his metaphorically, his finger on the pulse of something that really worked for him as an artist.
We're not really, just a little test, just play anything here.
I only do one thing.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I do it really well. My advice, find that pitch and hold it.
See, now the way I approached Stan when I played with him, because I played tempered instrument, was I would sort of insist that he teach me a song that he could repeat, so that I could learn it. So you just played it. It was like, I don't know what it was.
I can't do that.
But you did it. It was a theme that. Yeah. Anyway. And then I would learn it, and then I would try and play it. The thing about Stan was, especially toward the end of his life, he was getting to where he could actually play on key and in the same key, which is really difficult because you got so many variables there, you know, as you know. Stan was a little bit shy about playing the Vibraband in every kind of situation. so I really noticed it when he was on stage. And then definitely in the late 70s, and when UPEPO had a hit on the radio, you know, that's when they really showcased Stan. And that's when I said, oh my God. We'd go into a stairwell,
Right.
and go together.
Yeah, those
and he would just
really sounds great in there. Yeah.
That was mind-blowing because of the echo and stuff. But so, you know, and when we're roommates, I really came to appreciate that he was really developing this instrument into something, you know, incredible. And he was starting to be able to control it. I got to watch him practice and hear him for hours and hours. I went, that's when I really first started to realize what kind of an instrument this was.
Everybody has these preconceived ideas about what is appropriate for musicians to play. And in fact, there's no rules and there shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And so I came to really appreciate it. One of the things that Stan really did was he just appreciated beauty and free music, as we call it. It's exciting because there's no...
you don't know what's going to go.
Something bad could happen.
Yeah, something bad could happen, but nobody cares. We're going there anyway.
Yeah, right.
I think it'll be ça suffit. Ça suffit. I think it'll be good. My hands starting.
That hackneyed old tune.
Yeah.
Everyone plays that one.
Well, I actually met him back in, I'm going to say it was maybe 78 or 77 in a band called UPEPO. Now, we were, I don't know exactly how it all came to pass, but there was a large building at the corner of Burnside and 3rd, and it was semi-abandoned. And so musicians could get a loft or a space there really cheap. And so we had a space, a smegma, that we've already did anything with, but the UPEPO was kind of, I don't know if they were living there or someone were living there, but that's where they kind of got to know us, and we didn't really cross-pollinate musically or anything, but we kind of knew of each other, so that was my first exposure. You know, I've obviously heard, you know, the blade of grass thing, or the, you know, you could blow across some plastic just right, and you could make sounds from it, but it was pretty limited and haphazard. But when I heard him do it, I was like, wow, he's got control of this thing. And the way he showed me how to hold it, and, you know, the fingering it, you know, like notes and stretching the notes and bending. And I'm like, well, you know, that was really cool. And, you know, when I talk to people about it, I'd say, well, it sounds like something between a muted trumpet or cornet or a soprano, sort of, you know. And when you're trying to explain it to someone who hasn't heard it, of course, it's hard. But then he also said he started off playing, I believe it was the alto sax. So that's where he got, I guess it shows in his playing, you know, like sort of his language abilities or tonal possibilities were already in his head from playing the saxophone. So he kind of knew where he wanted to bend that instrument to kind of reach the, what do you call it, scales or whatever he was doing. So very easygoing, which is a good thing in any band. You know, you got people that are drama queens, too many of them, you bump heads. Too many Indians, it doesn't work. Too many chiefs, it doesn't work. So, I always think it's like a recipe, like a stew or a soup. You got to have a little spice in there, some potatoes to mellow it out. You know.
There's a contact mic here on the string and a contact mic on the shaft. So then you get this. I always think of Stan's lick, boop boop bloop boop 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 bloop boop 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 bloop, but I can't play it. But that, something like that. Stan played the Vibraband, and he had a big sheet of white backdrop paper behind the stage, and the beginning of the set he threw paint up onto the backdrop paper. Paper in half, and then put the Vibraband material, the latex, right flush, and then measure 3/4 of an inch. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then just using the paper cutter, line up the corner and definitely push in a little bit. But that makes it really very easy to get a perfectly straight edge. Right? And there you go.
Wow. Yeah, let's zoom in on that.
And so it was at Bumbershoot Festival in Seattle, after playing the set, that I took one of his Vibrabands and he gave me a 2-minute lesson how to hold it and stuff. So that's when I first started trying. Of course, it took me months to be able to even get
a sound,
anything,
right?
other than just this itchy nose and the frustrating blabbering sounds. So, but I stuck with it. I'm curious. Grab one.
Yeah.
And how do you hold it?
So I always, there's like the middle of the, of the strip, and I
Okay.
always put my thumb here, and then I curve it over like this, and then I hold it from the front, so it creates an airfoil. If you look,
very interesting.
it's like a curve. Yeah?
Because I do it completely differently.
Oh,
than
well,
that.
show how you do it. That's so cool.
I grab it at a 90-degree angle,
yeah.
a 90-degree angle almost, and completely cover the whole thing.
Oh, so it's like this.
So it's almost like that.
Kind of like
covering
that.
the whole covering the
Wow.
whole Vibraband, and then I put this finger against, physically push the end of my first finger against the top of my cheek there, above my lip. So that's very different than the curl. Let's see if I could even do that.
So I do it. Yeah, it's a curl, and then I grip it from the front. But the similar thing is I do hold it right up against my tooth like that.
Huh.
Yeah.
It works.
I don't know if I can try your way. Let me see if
completely cover the whole thing. So the whole thing is like, that's what I say to, if I teach somebody, I say, lay your hands out flat.
I can't do it.
Also, you stretch it much more than I do.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Much more than I do. Because I barely stretch it, right? I'm only stretching it like
I guess
about...
I go like this, and then I stretch it like that. And
anyway, interesting. Anyway, interesting.
yeah.
But Stan's the man.